Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be explaining the poem An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum by Stephen Spender, and the topics that I will be covering are the introduction of the poem, the summary, the theme, and the literary devices in the poem. So without any further ado, let's begin with the introduction of the poem. This poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum by Stephen Spender, basically highlights the harsh realities faced by children living in a slum. These children are deprived of their basic right to education, and their eyes dream of a better future which is distant and beyond their reach. Now I will begin with the summary of the poem. The poet has highlighted a classroom in a slum which basically consists of elements and material. This place lacks any attention or emotions. The children here are unaware of the lush and luxury of the outside world. They are sent here uncared and without any intention. They are compared to rootless weeds as unwanted identity. Then there's this tall girl present in the class, and she is too lean that it seems that she has been burdened with the atrocities and problems of life. Then there's this another boy who is extremely undernourished, that he is compared to a paper, and he has hungry eyes like that of a rat, which are in search of food and contentment. Among others, a boy has been described as unlucky because of his disease of twisted bones that he inherited from his father. Among all odds, a sweet and innocent boy makes his existence in the class. He is more keen to observe the squirrel's game in a tree house rather than focusing on what is happening inside the class. This signifies that either the boy is not interested what is being taught in the class, or he is too eager to explore the outside world and have an independent aim of his own. On the pale, unrepaired walls of the class hangs the pictures of Shakespeare, beautiful cities and valleys. But all these pictures and photographs are meaningless to these children because there is nobody to explain it to them or introduce them to Shakespeare and his literature. At the same time, their dumped lives in the slums can never let them imagine beautiful cities and valleys. The most ironical part is the world map which hangs on the wall because it is beyond their approach out of their confined world. This elementary class has windows just to keep out through their congested living because nobody has ever taught them or shown them how the outside world looks like. For these unprivileged kids, future is an uncertainty because they have been brought up in the narrow lanes of filthy slums which are very far off the beautiful nature and open sky. Their lives have been kept away from the light of education and brilliance of expressible words. The picture of Shakespeare and the world map is a bad example for these children because it is very hard for them to think of a world where ships sail and the sun shines in an open sky. But these pictures create a temptation in them to become criminals. The deprivation in their lives tempt them to do certain things. Their deeds begin with their uncertainty but end into another darkness. These malnourished children are extremely thin, as if there's a living skeleton wearing a skin. They have been compared to bottle bit of stone type images, and they have seen nothing in their lives except for foggy slums, dirt, filth and heap of slag. Stephen Spender sees a hope of their welfare if the slum is visited by any government body, administration or any responsible or enlightened citizen. If any of these visit the slums, then the window of hope may become the window of opportunity. The poet highly requests to break the uncertainty and helplessness of the dark future of these children living in slums, or they might end up doing certain unwanted things. Stephen Spender also hopes that these children are provided with natural environment so that they can enjoy the clean and green surroundings. He also wants them to acknowledge their knowledge so that they can freely entertain their freedom of speech and expression and create a history of their own. That was all for the summary. Now we move on to the theme of the poem. In this poem, the poet Stephen Spender paints a picture of the slum children and their school, both victims of government's apathy. The poem criticizes certain facts that children's need and their basic right to education is being neglected. There exists social injustice and class inequalities, and a lot better can be done if certain authorities and administrations take up the responsibility of their roles, which will also shape and make the lives of these children living in slums better. That was the theme. Now we move on to the literary devices used in the poem. The first one is simile. So if a phrase or a sentence contain the word as or like, then it is called as simile, which basically shows comparison between two things. So the first one is like rootless weeds. The second one is like bottle bits on stones. The third one is like catacombs. And the fourth one is slum as big as doom.
The next literary device is metaphor. In metaphor, the real meaning of a word is denoted by something else. The first example is rat's eyes, where the eyes of a boy are compared to that of a rat who is in search of food and security. The second example is futures painted with fog. So in winters, like the fog blurs everything, the future of these children is blurred and uncertain. The third example is lead sky. The sky is basically blue and bright, but here lead sky implies dark and dull. In other words, the future of these children is dark and dull. The fourth example is spectacle of steel, which can be explained in three different ways. So the first explanation could be that some slum children are wearing spectacles of steel with scratched glasses. Second explanation could be that the bodies of these slum children look like wiry framework of steel, just like that of spectacles.
The third explanation could be the inhuman and indifferent behavior of the responsible authorities towards these children, and as if they cannot see because they are wearing spectacles of steel with scratched glasses. Thank you. That was it for today's poem. I hope you were able to understand it. I'll see you next time with another one. Until then, take care. Bye.